Hi, my name is Liz Hathway and this is my look at 2019. It's always quite a challenge to look at the year ahead, and I think the best way to approach that is to look at the broad brush strokes. And personally, I always start with the nodal axis because in a way this is the sort of paper that the year is going to be written on. The nodal axis is extremely important because this is where the eclipses are going to be falling, and at the moment the North Node is in Cancer, so it makes it very personal as well. This North Node in Cancer is very much about our sense of belonging, about our tribe, about our family, about who am I in relation to my group, my clan, my people. So it's about these larger wholes. And of course we have the South Node currently in Capricorn, which is looking at the past. It's very much about, as well, it's very patriarchal, the South Node in Capricorn. It's about the strong man, these figures that are drawing on, you know, a kind of historical precedence in a way. And they have power. This is the old system. Whereas the Cancer, it's nurturing these small, shall we say, budding communities, new directions and new tribes that are being established. And so the eclipses, and the first one of course falls actually on, I think it's the 6th of January. So on that day Uranus stations. So in a sense you do get the feeling that because Mercury is quite prominent in that eclipse chart, and Uranus is the higher manifestation in some respects of Mercury. So you can see already that the sort of gauntlet is being thrown down in a way to kind of start to look for new sense of belonging and for a new way of expressing yourself in a way. The old system is a little bit breaking down. But what we're looking at really then, so we're looking first at this, you know, for me anyway, I'm looking first at the nodal axis. And then I'm thinking, are there trends or threads running through the year that are somehow playing into that theme where the eclipses are going to be falling in the Cancer Capricorn axis? And I would say, yes, there are. Because the major sort of planetary pairings this year are Jupiter square to Neptune, and the other one is Saturn's sextile to Neptune. So it's very Neptunian. And these aspects between Jupiter and Neptune and Saturn and Neptune follow each other as well quite closely. So, you know, we'll have, for example, on the 16th of June, Jupiter square Neptune. And then on the 18th of June, we have Saturn sextile Neptune. The last Jupiter-Neptune square is in September, whereas the last Saturn-Neptune sextile is in November. So there's this playoff between Jupiter square Neptune and Saturn sextile Neptune. So what are the kind of archetypal threads there? I think Jupiter square Neptune is certainly, Neptune is a planet that's associated with socialism. It's associated with mass movements, the rise of the Labour Party, for example. And Uranus as well is entering Taurus proper in 2019. So, you know, this kind of Marxist sort of, you know, that kind of fair play, a greater sense of fair play is starting to be fed by the Jupiter square. So I think it will be a year for mass movements. I think, you know, that things that start small can really, which is Cancer, that little, you know, the fetus starts as a small thing, but, you know, this sense of things being able to grow if it feels right, if the masses are sort of getting some sense of fair play and we're being heard. And what's interesting then with the Saturn sextile following on the back of these squares is the lengths which the establishment is prepared to go to make some of the dreams and some of the ambitions of the masses real. because Saturn sextile Neptune is very much about bringing the dream into reality, you know, giving it, putting flesh on the bones, if you like, trying to make it happen in a way. So while Jupiter square Neptune, certainly in the mutables, can be wild, it can be uncontrolled, it can just flare up and then disappear again in that very sort of Piscean way. It's almost like a breath in and out. But there is a thread of continuity which Saturn is adding to it. I think it's a really interesting combination. The fact that Saturn's in there as well, it's earthing the dream for many, or at least reminding people that to go out and demonstrate or go out and be on the streets is not enough. There has to be some changes in the law. There has to be some help, if you like, from the establishment, which is very much the Saturn in Capricorn theme. On another level, maybe on a more personal level, we could say as well that Jupiter Neptune is also about a higher vision, sort of idea of as well maybe surrendering to a higher vision, and maybe having, you know, with the North Node in Cancer too, having to find a new family, a new tribe, a new group of people that you can feel share your vision. I was just reading the other day about Emanuel Swedenborg, the great visionary, 17th century inventor and visionary. He was an Aquarian. But his visions and his audio, he's talked to angels, that took a turn in 1644 when he, under a Neptune-Jupiter square, when his vision started to be much more about heaven, about hell, much more, shall we say, sort of religious tone to them. And so there's that feel, I think, as well with Jupiter square Neptune, of new visions sometimes being thrust upon us, not always even wanting them, but we somehow have to take note of them. So something is trying to nudge us in a different direction. And this we see as well, as I say, that first eclipse of the year on the 6th of January, Uranus stationary direct, you know, last degrees of Aries, Mars going into Aries as well on New Year's Day, which is this incredible thrust of fearfulness, of, you know, passion for something. Mars in Aries is very much about breakthrough and pushing ahead. And I know a lot of astrologers are talking about 2020, about, you know, what 2020 Saturn-Pluto conjunction, what that could mean for us, what that's going to change in our world. And in a way, you have to sort of imagine, I think, this whole period now, because at the end of the year, Jupiter comes into Capricorn as well, that there is this, I wouldn't even call it a build-up. I think it's very much about letting go of things that no longer work, and starting to embrace more positive, more perhaps as well with Jupiter Neptune, Neptune in Pisces, things that are more inclusive, that more people can come on board, and less, you get less then of this, what we've certainly seen in 2018 and in 2017, Brexit, you know, this sense of us and them. There has to be something more inclusive, I think, as we move into 2020, which for me personally, I see very much as the crucible. 2020, we have the container, which is Saturn, and then we have Pluto, the transmutation. So things can change, but we have to find our tribe. We have to surrender perhaps to our own higher self, to the things that we really think are important, and start to ground them in 2019. I hope you have a great year. This is a very short introduction because, of course, I can't tell you how many sheets of paper I've got on 2019. You're looking at the outer bound planets, the stations, etc. But that's really too much for a short review of the year, which is what this is. I'm wishing you a fantastic evening and a wonderful 2019. Thanks for listening. Bye.